It's 7:30 and it's calling to order the regular council meeting of the Middleton Common Council. Today is July 5th, and we're going to start with roll call.
Thank you. Schaefer is absent and excused. Wokus,
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Miracune,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Haniro,
Here.
Lorman,
Here.
Crow.
Here.
Very good. Moving on to public comments. The first on the list is Lucas D. Can you please come to the front, state your name and your address, please?
Hello, my name is Lucas D. Rodriguez. I live in Middleton before I live in Madison. My wife and I have 16 years of experience on the restaurant business. We opened South Park Street we were there for 10 years. A restaurant. We make another one from 2015 through 2019 and moved to Florida. We come back. As always, I like the struggle and suffer. We again risk some investment in a new entrepreneur in Middleton. We found a place at the BP station and make some investment. We were thinking in a fast casual Peruvian, not say Peruvian, have to be just kind of cover a height to be more open and Latin flavor place. But unfortunately for us, we start in March, April. We kind of slow, make all the arrangement, the makeups, etc. But we are struggling now with some electrical job that we are back up. We have everything ready. Mr. Jim was helping us. He just left. I saw him. But we are frustrated. Until now, all the companies, electrical companies that we call is 1 month or 2 month backup is incredible. And we are being very bad on, you have to pay the rent since May, MGE. So what I am here, stand up is to have like a temporary, a temporary license or occupancy license just to start and finish that electrical job that is already done, but it's missing. It was ready to run before, so I need just a company that came and says everything is good, which is good, and we get stuck in that. It's very frustrating for us. I just broke my meniscus there, just putting a heavy stuff. But as I say, we enjoy the struggle and the suffer, but we have to continue, and that's why we are here. Yep.
Well, Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I wish you well with your restaurant. It sounds like, which district are you, or whose district is he in?
I think he's in my district, District 5.
Okay. Perhaps you can work with Brian on that and in talking about what we can do. We're glad that you're opening your business here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Up next is a presentation from Be Smart on secure gun storage. Was there any other public comments? I apologize. No. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I think I sent in some slides for my presentation. They're great. I'm just assuming someone will advance them for me. Okay, great. I'm Mara Terrace. I'm an internal medicine physician and a mother of 2 small children, as well as a resident of Middleton. And so thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today about the Be Smart program. Be Smart is a program that focuses on keeping our children and communities safe from firearm violence, focusing on secure firearm storage. I do just want to note that we receive funding from Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund. Everytown does also support Moms Demand Action. You'll see some Moms Demand Action members in their red shirts here today, but we are separate organizations. I do just want to briefly mention that this presentation does touch on some sensitive topics like suicide and gun violence, just to make everyone aware. So thank you. Okay, next slide. We're going to skip this one for the sake of time. So I was drawn to Be Smart because I think that despite all of the controversy and politics that surround any kind of conversation around guns these days, Be Smart really focuses on common sense practices that I think we can all get behind. So number one, we all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy. No argument with that. Number two, we all have a personal choice about how we choose to make our families and communities and homes safe. And that may or may not include having a firearm in the home. And then number three, if we can do anything to prevent even one child's death or injury from a firearm, we have a responsibility to do so. Next slide. So you may know this already, but firearms are now the leading cause of death for children in the United States. It surpasses motor vehicles, drowning, suffocation, cancer. And just as our society has chosen to take a comprehensive public health approach to reducing the harms from motor vehicles, we think that we need to take a similar approach to reducing the harms of firearms in our communities. Next slide. Unfortunately, Wisconsin follows this trend. So Wisconsin children, the #1 cause of death for them is also firearms. And this is just a smattering of headlines I found just from 2023, specifically focusing on children who accessed an unsecured firearm and either shot themselves or other people. Unfortunately, this happens across the country. It happens here in our communities, and it happens with children as young as 2. And these are all tragic, but preventable. One other thing I just wanted to bring attention to is that unsecured firearms and vehicles are now the largest source of stolen guns in the US, and that trend is only continuing to climb. So when we have conversations about how to keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them, this is a major factor in that as well. Next slide. So like I said, I'm a doctor, and in the medical field, we love our acronyms. And so Be Smart is an acronym. It stands for Secure, Model, Ask, Recognize, and Tell. And I'll really quickly run through all of those with you. So we can go to the next one. No, next slide.
A little bit of a delay.
Yeah, sorry. So S stands for secure homes, or excuse me, well, secure your homes by securing your guns in your homes and your vehicles. And so by that, we don't just mean keeping it, in your closet or under your bed. We mean having a gun lock or a gun safe, keeping the gun unloaded and preferably secured away from any ammunition. And we partner with local organizations to give out free gun locks, like with police stations or other public health organizations, because we want this to be an accessible goal that doesn't rely on if you can afford a gun lock or not. Okay, next one. M stands for model responsible behavior. So the most responsible thing is to safely secure your firearms, but we also think that it's important to have conversations with people in your communities and your family about how to act responsibly around guns, talk to children about what they should do if they come across an unsecure firearm. And we provide education on how to talk to children and teens about firearm safety. A is for ask. This one hits home for me because my kids are at the age where they're starting to go on play dates. And so I routinely ask, like, hey, do you have peanuts? Because my kid has a peanut allergy. Do you have dogs? Do you have firearms in the home, and are they secure? Because I try and say it in the same text, the same breath, the same tone, because I just want to normalize the conversation. And I don't want to find out that there was an unsecured firearm after it's already too late. Okay. R is to recognize the role of guns in suicide. Unfortunately, when someone is trying to end their life, if there's a gun involved, the mortality rate is over 90%. And that far surpasses any other means of trying to end your life by suicide, where it's under 10% kind of completion rate, or whatever term you want to call it. When people are facing suicidal thoughts, they're often acting impulsively. And if they have access to an unsecured firearm, they're not going to have a second chance. Unfortunately, amongst children, suicide amongst children, firearms are involved in over 40% of those cases as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, and so T is for tell, which is what I'm doing here today, telling you all about the Be Smart program, but also asking you to just start the conversation amongst your communities, amongst your organizations. And we're also actively trying to partner with the different government organizations, public health organizations, anybody who has a vested interest in child safety, which I would argue is everyone, to figure out ways that we can find some common ground with people who do or do not own guns to try and keep our children safe. That was a very quick summary. I just put this in for resources in case anybody needs it, since we did mention suicide in the presentation. You can go to the next slide. And then this is my contact information as well as information for our state and local leads. But we really like the support of the city of Middleton. You know, we're trying to work with police stations, the Department of Public Health. We're working with National Night Out. So I think that, you know, getting your support would really go a long way to helping to spread the message. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any clarifying questions for her?
I also have some brochures. If anybody's interested, I might leave some here for you, but yeah,
That,
happy to
that
talk.
might be good to hand out the brochures. And I know we had talked about this program as part of our public safety committee. And one of the things that they're looking at is also talking to school boards or PTA. So if you have a elementary school in your district, if anything ever comes up, you can let them know. It's a short demo, or you can show the video. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as she's working on handing those out, I'm going to start with the proclamation. I'm going to read the Mayors Against Illegal Guns proclamation. Whereas as mayors, our problems may look different from town to town, but we are united in our duty to do everything we can to protect our residents from the threat of gun violence. And whereas every year, nearly 40,000 Americans are killed with guns and 85,000 Americans are shot and wounded as a result of gun assaults, unintentional shootings, attempted gun suicides, and shootings by law enforcement, devastating families and communities across the country with a disproportionate impact on Black and Latino people. Now, therefore, I, Emily Kuhn, Mayor of Middleton, on behalf of the Middleton Common Council, hereby proclaim that we all resolve to work together to advance gun safety in our community. With that, do I have a motion?
This is Katie. I'll move approval.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll definitely second that.
Any comments or discussion?
Yes.
Alder Jackson?
I'm definitely impressed about the Be Smart presentation tonight, and definitely the proclamation that the city has made to get behind gun violence, especially right after I was elected. Right in my district, we had a tragic incident, which not only did it cost us a business, you guys know about the shooting at the MSI, and I was there. I did my best to comfort the owner, and it was so tragic. He said he just couldn't do business there anymore. He was there the day the incident happened. He saw it, and it was very tragic. Not only did I comfort him, I went out and supported the Samba family, went to their home, basically ensured them that the city of Middleton did not tolerate such an act like this. Assured them that the perpetrator was not from our city, found out it was from out of our city. Also, I supported them at the memorial. I went to the memorial at the mosque and supported them and supported his wife. It was just tragic all around the board, because Samba was a well-recognized soccer player. He was an outstanding worker. He was an outstanding citizen. He came from the community of the Gawabian community out of Africa, and felt like he found a new life here. Went to UW College, got some degrees to get his life together. So when I say it was a tragic loss, we lost the car dealership. The Gawabian community is very disturbed at, America and its gun violence. They even shared with me that in their country, they don't even have guns. They don't have guns. So it was very tragic. The wife was left, I don't know if many know, she was with child. So a child has lost his father, wife has lost her husband, do something very tragic, which I feel that if we begin to get stronger and we begin more supportive on gun laws, it could have been avoided. This was a young woman, and even talking to the car dealership, he shared with me Her intentions was wrong from the time she came in the door. This was an incident that started at 9 o'clock in the morning. And it ended up at 1 o'clock with a man losing his life just because the individual was hostile and he asked her to leave the business. And, you know, it's very touching. I actually stood with the car dealership owner several times and I cried with him, sat in his office for a while because I was driving home that day and I immediately reached out to the newly elected mayor. I said, hey, what's going on? All these cops. My daughter's on the car. She said, Dad, what happened? I said, I don't know. But I immediately took her home. I was nervous because we received the alert there was a shutdown. I went to check on my son and his friends because they had just left Middleton High School and it was in that area. And then I went back over. I met with Chief. He was standing out there. I say, hey, what happened? He said, I can't discuss it too much, but a young man has lost his life. So I am very impressed with council, with the city getting behind gun violence. I think it's something that should be pushed and pushed hard. When we look, even across America at the mass shootings that is going on, even my job, I work for Chili's, they just put out an initiative all over 2,000 of their stores. We had to watch a video on active shooting. This is how bad it is with this gun violence. So I commend the mayor and I commend the city on making this proclamation.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor of approving the proclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And I'm just going to ask if the presenter and the moms to man come up and take a picture. Anyone would like to join me as well.
One, two.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the approval of consent agenda as recommended to council by committee, commission, board. Number 1, approval of the June 20th Common Council minutes. Number 2, audit of bills to be paid as approved by Finance Committee. And number 3, award a bid for library tuck pointing repairs. Do I have a motion?
This is Jackson. I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Lorman, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Agreements. Number 1, stormwater management system maintenance agreement with Blazing Star Properties. This is the Kiva site. Do I have a motion? Or do we need staff background first? I'm seeing a yes. Can I have some staff background, please?
Sure, and I'll keep it brief. Oh, we're blinking red. Batteries, we're okay? All right. Yeah. So this would have been reviewed by Eric Sorensen of our staff. And it's a very template sort of agreement. So he usually just checks it for consistency with the template. If they filled in the blanks properly, he brings it here. So I'm not expecting any surprises, but I myself am not familiar with the nitty-gritty details of it.
And this isn't something that has to go through the Stormwater Management Committee?
Typically, if it meets all the requirements of the ordinances, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking. Is there a motion? Oh, sorry, Alder Hanaro.
I'll move approval of the Stormwater Management System Maintenance Agreement with Blazing Star Properties LLC.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second that motion.
Any discussion?
I had a question, Madam
Alder
Mayor.
Hanaro?
Sean, how often it references periodic reports to be provided by the property owner? How often are these reports received? Is that ever done?
I think this is for the stormwater management system maintenance agreement, we have a whole database and it's required that they submit a compliance report every 2 years.
Every 2 years, okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing,
I did have one more question. I noticed also that mowing is supposed to be minimized and shouldn't be less than 6 inches when it is done. And I was just wondering if we follow that same guidance for our own city stormwater maintenance facilities.
Might depend which ones they are.
Okay. So that's not a standard.
I think that's standard language in those SWIMSMAs. Ditches might be a little bit different. So I don't know. Yeah, we'd have to look into that.
Because it looks like it says this is in buffer areas, pond banks and drainage ways. Yeah.
thanks. All those in favor of approving the stormwater management system maintenance agreement with Blazing Star Properties LLC, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, the agreement with WisDOT for a carbon reduction program grant for conversion of city streetlights to LED.
This is Haniro. I recommend approval of the agreement as recommended by finance, or I move approval, sorry.
All right, do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second it.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the agreement with the WisDOT or the approval of the agreement for the WisDOT for a carbon reduction program grant for conversion of city streetlights to LED, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 3, agreement with David and Shelley Petzold for reimbursement of landscape project at 6524 Oakwood Place. I'm asking for staff background.
Perfect. So this really came out of the Public Works Committee, and I just heard from Shelley tonight that the work could not be scheduled until next calendar year, so 2024. So one of the discussion items here in the agenda packet was consideration of whether we could still transfer some money and get the project done this year, but that's not a consideration. This would just be about the agreement itself.
If they're doing it next year, are they still going to be able to meet the October 31, 2024 deadline?
Let's ask. I'm seeing some nodding. I'm hearing a yes.
So no need to modify the contract.
Yeah, that'd be great for end of growing season.
Any other discussion or?
So if it's deferred until next year, then is the same account the one that would be billed for this? Or would we need to build this into the budget for 2024?
I think it's that latter that we would just put it in as its own capital budget request.
Okay. And a related question. So for this year, the drafting of this agreement, the legal expense for that, how will that be paid? Because it seems like since that is only an expense that we are incurring because of this private project, it seems like it should come out of that $12,000.
That I do not know. Do you know, Larry, is that normally just billed to our general legal services kind of thing?
Well, certainly there have been a lot of similar agreements over the years where the city enters into agreements with property owners and does not bill for those services separately. It's a matter of discretion for the council whether this kind of agreement should require reimbursement for legal. I had nothing to do with this, all prepared by Matt Fleming. It's fine from a legal perspective, but I didn't actually prepare it, so I don't know how much time he spent on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I was thinking it might be something in the line of where we've got easement agreements for
Right.
people that give us a storm sewer easement, or there's maybe some sort of easement related to a private sign that's in a public easement, and they
Yep.
have to agree to certain conditions for that. And those are the kinds of things we haven't, to my knowledge, charged back to the benefited party.
Good clarifying questions. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion?
This is Nelson. I move that we approve this agreement with David and Shelley Petzold.
Do I have a second?
This is Cole, I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the agreement with David and Shelley Petzold for reimbursement of landscape project at 6524 Oakwood Place, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Motion passes 7-1.
6-1.
Oh, my apologies. 6-1. Thank you. Moving on to ordinances, second reading. An ordinance to modify section 15.02 relating to speed limit references on Bellefontaine Boulevard and Bishops Bay Parkway. Do I have a motion?
This is Nairo. I will move approval.
Do I have a second?
This is Cole, I will second.
Any discussion?
Can you remind me, are we going up or down on the speed limit here?
The speed limit is going from 35 miles per hour on Bishops Bay Parkway to 25, and from 30 on Bellefontaine Boulevard down to 25.
Good question. All those in favor of approving the ordinance to modify the speed limit on Bellefontaine and Bishops Bay, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 2, review of proposed ordinance relating to the city's recapturing costs to perform testing of commercial weights and measures equipment. Do I have a motion?
This is Wilkus. I'll move approval.
Do I have a second?
Larman, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those ready to vote to approve to the review of proposed ordinance relating to the city's recapturing cost to perform testing of commercial weights and measures equipment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to resolutions, resolutions 2023-36 Fristam Pumps at 2410 Parview Road, public storm sewer easement.
This is Wilkus. I'll move approval on behalf of Public Works.
Do I have a second?
This is Nairo. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. The approval of the resolution 2023-36 Fristam Pumps. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. On resolution 2023-37 6100 Lake Street Apartments, public storm sewer easement.
This is Wilkus. I'll move approval on behalf of Public Works.
Do I have a second?
Nairo will second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution 2023-37 6100 Lake Street Apartments, please say aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Number 3, trying to follow along on the screen. Sorry, making sure we're there.
Do you want mine?
It's okay. I think I just wanted to pull it up for a second. There we go. Thank you, Brian. The resolution 2023-39 budget amendment for city match for carbon reduction grant for conversion of city street lights to LED. Do I have a motion?
This is Nairo. I move approval as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of resolution 2023-39 budget amendment for the city streetlights to go LED, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And number 4, Resolution 2023-40, resolution to support a Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Community Development Investment Grant application for the Bruce Company redevelopment.
This is an IRO. I move approval as recommended by finance.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Mormon second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 2023-40, the resolution to support a WEDC Community Development Investment Grant application for the Bruce Company, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Number 5, Resolution 2023-38, approving amendment to access easement for Lot 1 CSM number 15320 Evergreen Road. Do I have a motion?
This is Wilkes. I'll move approval.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second it.
Okay.
Just so you know, the last exhibit from the agreement is not in the file. Probably the best way to do this would be to empower city staff to execute the resolution upon receipt of the missing easement area that's Exhibit D to the agreement. Don't need to do a deferred effective date because I'm sure this is just but staff needs to have that before this is approved.
Can we
Thank
have
you,
just a
Sarah.
brief background on this and why it didn't, does this not have to go through the appeals board? Am I confused about?
Yeah, and there's not a cover sheet on this
Yeah,
section.
I don't.
This one came in from Attorney Fleming. This is, I believe, related to the Erdman property that we accepted.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Erdman. Sorry.
This was a donation of conservancy land from Leaf Hubbard, and this is located on Evergreen Road. I worked a little bit on this. It was primarily, this is related to maintenance of conservancy lands. And it was primarily handled through our attorney's office working with one of the adjacent property owners who was requesting some changes. I can speak to the sign issue because I received some questions about this. This is a very small directional sign, and the reason that we need it in the location is that the driveway is on the property that is conservancy land that is owned by the city, but it also serves other properties that need to be able to receive deliveries. And so it's a very small sign that's already there, but the property owners to the west have asked that it be formalized in an easement so that they can be guaranteed that they can continue to receive deliveries.
And the concept and the agreement are fine. It's just one missing legal description or diagram. I don't care which it is.
All right, any other questions or discussion?
So do I need to modify my motion then for approval? Can you
Well,
state again what's missing?
Yeah, I don't think you do. This isn't deferred effective date kind of thing where it could be 1 month, 3 months. I assume someone has a diagram. They just need to attach it to this agreement and then it's done.
Okay.
So I'm guessing this is just a matter of a day or two. So no, as long as it's clear that no one should sign it until we get the document.
All right. All those in favor of Resolution 2023-38, approving amendment to access easement for Lot 1 at 15320 Evergreen Road, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to committee appointments. The appointment of Todd Fresh to Tourism Commission. And do I have a motion? Just so you know, Todd was recommended by the tourism director. He is, if I remember correctly, runs one of the hotels in the city. So that's what they look for, is one representative from the hotels.
This would be a replacement of another member of the Tourism Commission who was serving as the lodging representative who had to step off the commission. So this would be replacement in kind of another lodging representative.
May I ask, so Todd Fresh will be the industry representative on the commission? Okay.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and that's important because he is not a resident of Middleton, correct?
So then that's so my question about not being a resident. If this individual does not continue in their employment in Middleton, how does that as a matter of procedure on the committee?
So if they're no longer employed with their lodging institution, they would step off the commission. We'd replace them in kind.
Thank you.
It's a good question. Do I have a motion?
This is Jackson. I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
This is Wilkes. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the appointment of Todd Fresh to tourism, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Next up is the appointment of Aaron Summers to Middleton Westport Joint Zoning Committee. Do I have a motion?
This is Wilkes. I'll move
This
approval.
is Nelson. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'm just wondering, similar to a recent meeting where we didn't have everyone's submissions, this is not included in the packet? Again.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry.
Excellent point. So Aaron and Nick are both on the Plan Commission.
Okay.
And you may not be aware of that. So we're just moving, we're adding them. So they'll stay on plan, but we're adding them to the Middleton Westport Joint Zoning.
Got it. Thank
So
you.
that could be why it was omitted. So just so you know, she used to serve on Parks and Arts. And I'm sharing only because Alder Cole is the newest member.
I had a
Alderman Arrow?
question about the term.
Mhm.
I understand that she's filling a vacant seat, but does that make her term 2021 to 2024? Or does it just make it 23 and 24?
It's an excellent question.
Well, if there is, go ahead. You're
I'll
right.
defer.
Answer.
Yeah, you'd say she'd be filling that vacancy. And once that term of 2024 expires, then that position would be up for reappointment.
Okay.
It doesn't change the timeline.
I'm just wondering if on the website, it's going to indicate that has she been serving since 21?
No, she's brand new to plan.
Then I would feel more comfortable having it be 23 and 24 since that's accurate.
Well, it's noted that way on the agenda. So, and clearly the second one similarly for 23 to 26.
I think it just makes clear that it's a 3-year term of appointment, which
It
is
is,
interesting.
but if there's a vacancy, you would just serve till the end
Right,
of the
right,
previous term.
right.
Right. I'm just saying, as somebody who often looks at our website to find out information about things like how long has this person been serving, I think it should accurately reflect that she was not appointed in 21. She was appointed in 23. That's all.
Noted.
I have no objection to Aaron Summers being on the committee.
Very fair. I appreciate that. Alder Nelson, did you have something?
No, I was just going to tell Jennifer that Aaron is a partner in an architect firm
Very important.
here in Middleton.
Thank you. I appreciate the background since I rely on looking at their resumes. So
All right, all those in favor of the appointment of Aaron Summers to Middleton Westport Joint Zoning Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And the appointment of Nick Adams to Middleton Westport Joint Zoning Committee. Do I have a motion?
This is Wilkes. I'll move approval.
Do I have a second?
This is Crow. I'll second.
Any discussion? And I'm
back.
sorry, I don't know his profile, so like, he is on the Parks Committee, though.
Okay.
He is the chair of the Parks Committee, and he used to be a history teacher, and he once sat in at the Supreme Court. I do know some things. All right. All
Does he
those,
sit on Parks or is he on the Planning Commission as well?
he's on the Parks as the chair, you're right, and he sits on the planning,
Okay. And so
As
he's the
the Parks
Parks representative on
chair.
plan. Okay.
and then he'll be sitting on here.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification. All those in favor of approving the appointment of Nick Adams to Middleton Westport Joint Zoning Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
This is what Chris, I'll move, we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second that.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.